Good afternoon if you're from Australia. If you're from overseas, good evening. I just have a couple of questions for you. Have any of you seen my hammock? And have any of you seen my bag of cocaine? I was in the capital. I seem to have misplaced my bag of cocaine. If anyone has seen it, that along with my hammock, I would appreciate it back. How are you all? Good to see you. Jojo says, "Ping, I can't see you. You can't see me." Now he spins. Man, that video I've been laughing about it so hard, like for like an hour. It's so funny. If you guys haven't seen the hammock video, it is hilarious. Um, Sean said, Dave Allen once said, "Imagine if your name was Bill Posters, you'd be in hiding as everyone wanted to prosecute you." That is true. Um, Hey, Snap Crackle Pop, how are you? Reeby, Laura T, Angela, Retired RN, good to have you. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the hammock video, go watch it. It is very funny. No, Bill Poster is those things you see in the street that have like go to the concert or go to the rave or whatever. That is a Bill Poster. All right. I have some new information out of the trial, the Lynn trial. We're going to go over that. Uh, Mr. DJ has been keeping me informed about the speedboat owner, which we're going to have a look at that too. So they've actually located the guy. Well, obviously they found his boat yesterday. Well, they just go, "Oh, we don't know who it is. We found a boat." But no, they know who he is. And I'm going to play it for you. Apparently, he has an attorney, which sounds about right. If you have a boat, you probably have an attorney, right? Give me 1 second, and I will get this lined up for you. How you all doing out there? Having a great day? Having a great day? Any of you lose a hammock? Any cocaine? Hey, how are you? Good to see you all. We're back. The camera's back. You meant the hammock? No, no. No. Do you guys want to see the hammock video before we start? I mean, I can show you. I think it's funny, but it's up to you guys. We can get into true crime if you'd rather. We can do that first. Actually, let's do true crime. I'll show you the hammock thing later. So this person is alleged to have killed a 15-year-old girl with this boat. We're going to see what the attorney says in response to these very serious allegations.
Attorney for 78-year-old Carlos Alonso is speaking about his client's alleged involvement in a deadly hit and run. It's a story you saw first right here on 6.
A new report is also shedding light on what unfolded on the water the day 15-year-old Ella Riley Adler lost her life. Ryan Nelson is live at Coral Gables with the story tonight. Ryan.
Yes, the attorney representing the suspected operator of that vessel of interest again did speak to us earlier tonight, and she says that her client is devastated, and she says if he did indeed hit anyone on the water, he had no idea. For the first time, we're hearing the suspected boat operator's side of the story. His attorney speaking to NBC6 in the wake of the horrific tragedy.
We are devastated for the Adlers, for their friends, for their family. There is no question in our minds that this is an absolutely horrific thing that happened.
NBC6 cameras there as 78-year-old Carlos Alonso of Coral Gables arrived at his home with his attorney. The FWC says the boat of interest belongs to him, and he was driving it when it allegedly hit and killed 15-year-old Ella Adler Saturday. Alonso's attorney, Lauren Krasnoff, says if Alonso's boat hit anyone in the water, he had no idea.
He's an experienced boater. He was boating by himself on Saturday. If he was the person that was involved in this accident, and I want to be clear, we don't know that yet. If he was, he had absolutely no idea of his involvement. When the police came knocking, he did not know why. We're not sure if he was involved, but if he was, he absolutely did not know what had happened.
The FWC says it all happened near Nixon Beach. They say Ella was on her wakeboard with another person who was on a wake surfboard. As they were being towed, both of them fell into the water at the same time. But Ella was a bit further away from the boat that was towing them. The FWC taking Alonso's boat into custody, and they say he is cooperating.
He docked his boat in plain sight. And most importantly, he's been cooperative with law enforcement and with anybody that has needed to investigate what happened on the water that day. He has had no contact with the criminal system. He does not drink, and he was not drinking on that Saturday.
And the FWC says there were 13 other people who were on the boat that Adler was water skiing from. This is an ongoing investigation, and we will be sure to bring you the latest details. Ryan Nelson, NBC6 News.
All right, so let's have a talk about that. He's an older gentleman, 78 years old, or 78 years old. He says he has no idea he hit anyone. I can almost see where this is going. They're going to say, oh, he, has some older people ailments. He didn't hear anything. And it's an interesting defense. I don't personally know. But I would just figure if you hit a human in a boat, you might be able to feel it. I'm not 100% sure, but this is a little odd. I hope they figure out if he was involved because they seem to be not even sure of that. And like, I wonder how you can repossess a boat, and then his lawyer comes out and says, "Oh, we're not even sure if it was him." But I guess it might be a lawyer thing to say. Never incriminate or self-incriminate is probably the name of the game. And I found this very interesting too. I don't know what this was. Here, I'll show you. I'll see if I can wind it back. Where is it? They showed this footage of them towing the boat, and it almost looked like a funeral procession. Did you guys see that in the video, or is it just really bad traffic on the? It is. When they were towing it across the bridge, like they're going very slowly. Is this for a reason, or is it out of respect, or like they look like they're moving it at about 10 miles an hour. They're going very, very slowly. I'm not sure why of that either, but I'm glad they figured out who the boat was. They had the boat Monday, and they've impounded that boat. Now we know who it is. Sean says, I recall prior to COVID a boat running over another in Sydney Harbour, killing one gentleman. Yeah, that was like 4 years ago. That was a pretty bad accident. He got off on like driving to, wasn't that the party boat, Sean? There was 2 boats on the water. It was late at night. They'd all been drinking, and then something happened between the 2 boats. And then people died. A couple of people died, got into the water. They drowned, unfortunately. Danny Mitchell says, I don't know much about boats. I don't know a ton. I've been on a bunch of them, but I can't tell you what it would feel like to hit a human because I've never hit one. That was another one. Okay. But at least they're trying to get through this investigation. I mean, at a minimum, like at the most base level of this, a 15-year-old girl lost her life with nothing. Like, she didn't do anything wrong. She was just swimming in the water, wakeboarding. She was on a wakeboard, and someone ran her over, and she died from serious injuries that she sustained in that being run over by a boat. So the level here is going to find out where is the culpability, is there any culpability, and where does that lie? So I'm guessing he will go through. Mr. Alonso was the only occupant of that boat at the time, a 42-foot Boston whaler. It doesn't mention whether he could face charges. It's unclear whether alcohol was a factor in the crash. Well, his lawyer said that he doesn't drink, and he was not drinking on the day. So be very hard to prove now unless they had video footage, like it was on Saturday or whatever. The alcohol would be out of his system, so it would be a smart thing to say he wasn't drinking because you got no way of proving it unless you had a video of him downing alcohol cans or something like that. It says here it's unclear whether alcohol was a factor in the crash since the section of the report that mentions whether it's alcohol related is marked unknown. They say he docked his boat in plain sight, and most importantly, he's been cooperative with law enforcement and with anybody that has needed to investigate what happened on the water that day, according to his lawyer. He has had no contact with the criminal system. He does not drink and was not drinking on that Saturday. In a statement Wednesday, FWC officials said Alonso was cooperating with the investigation. According to the report, 13 other people older when she was fatally struck by the boat, including a 30-year-old man who was operating the boat she'd been on, a 42-foot walk around. So she was on a big boat. According to the report, Alda and another girl were being towed in the area on a wakeboard, and the other one was on a wake surfboard. They fell off at different times and locations and were in the water when she was struck by the boat, which did not stop. So I don't know what the minimum charge it could be with. It might be something like fail to render assistance. Even if you had no knowledge, it's very hard to prove that he had no knowledge. But he didn't stop. So that might be the one charge if they can't get him for, operating a boat and causing death or injury. They might be able to get him for not being able to stop and render assistance. Shock said that's a large boat. He probably didn't feel the hit. What was his one? His one was a Boston Whaler, 42 foot. It's a big boat. 42-foot Boston Whaler. Let's have a look. And we have images of it. It's pretty big. All right. Well, actually, we can just go to the video. You can see it. Let's play here. So there's them towing it. It is a pretty big boat. You can see it dwarfs that. That looks like an F-150 or a Ram or something like that. It's a big truck, and that boat dwarfs it like by a lot. So there you go. I mean, yeah, there you go. You can see at the back here, it has 4 motors on it. 4 probably pretty powerful motors. That would hurt if you got tangled in that. That would be a lot of injury. Lux says, I can see my grandpa hitting someone and not knowing. Does that make it a tragic accident then? Is that something where everyone walks away and just says this was just wrong place, wrong time? I wonder. I would like to know from you in the chat what you think. Whether you think it could be brought down to that. It's just one of those things in life where, sometimes things cross paths. It's no one's actual fault. Sean said, you're thinking of the 5 that died 16 years ago in the 2 party boat collision in Sydney. I thought it wasn't that long ago, but hey, maybe it was. Yeah, hey, Shock, how are you, Beth B? Good to have you here. Well, look, at least they're getting the investigation underway. It's really sad that a young girl, very talented apparently, she was a ballerina, lost her life in this way. But when you're on the water, many things can go wrong. Not just getting hit by a boat, your boat could sink, you could capsize. There's a million different things that can go wrong on the water. It is very dangerous. It is a dangerous hobby. We'll find out more when they get through their investigation, and we'll find out whether they're going to press any charges or they're going to let everyone walk away. We'll see. Probably another week or so, I think, and then we'll find out. All right. I have some more information from the trial of Mr. Gregory Lynn in Australia. The updates for this trial have been bizarre. It's been weird. We're getting no constant coverage, and this is not uncommon in Australia. We're sort of getting updates sporadically. You might get something in the morning and then nothing until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been a little weird. I mean, maybe they're just stuck in the trial and not getting enough breaks to go out and like write a story or make a report. But I'll show you something here. They said a weed sprayer has described the fateful moment he directed former Jetstar pilot Greg Lynn to the campsite where he allegedly murdered 2 elderly campers. Robert Williams had been hard at work spraying weeds in the Wodongatta Valley in Victoria's Alpine region on March 18, 2020, when Lynn asked him where was the best place to camp. He directed the now 57-year-old to Bucks Camp, where the police allege he murdered the secret lover campers. Do we have to title them like that? They're 70. They deserve some respect, right? We can just call them people. We don't have to go, they're secret lover campers. Very sensationalist. Says here, Russell Hill, 74, and Carol Clay, 73. So that's where they were killed. He also said he thought that Mr. Gregory Lynn might have had COVID because he was all sweaty and looking a bit ill. Mr. Williams appeared in the Supreme Court of Victoria on Thursday, where Lynn has pleaded not guilty to murdering the campers. The court heard Lynn appeared friendly and good natured when he approached Mr. Williams. The weed sprayer told the jury he was initially concerned Lynn may have had COVID 19. I asked the man if he could stand a few meters back because he was all sweaty and he looked like he was crook. Crook in Australia means ill. The COVID was just breaking out, and I thought he might have had COVID. He told me that he didn't have COVID and that he'd just been hunting. He then asked me where the best camp was. Mr. Williams directed him to Buck's Camp about 200 meters along the road, telling Lynn it was the best place to camp in the area. Days later, Mr. Williams claimed to have seen Mr. Hill speed past him as he was spraying weeds, later describing Mr. Hill to police as a grumpy old bugger. It was like he was on a mission. It was just very unusual, he told the jury. So there you go. Mr. Williams claims Mr. Hill appeared to have been having an argument with his passenger, a person police say could only have been Mrs. Clay. The witness told the jury most people he observed entering that part of the bush appeared happy and usually stopped for a chat. He just looked really grumpy and sad, and it's just the way he sped past me. People normally slow down a bit. He wasn't smiling, he didn't acknowledge me, he didn't even really look at me. Mr. Williams claims Mr. Hill appeared to be not speaking to Mrs. Clay as he made his way along the track. He didn't say anything, he looked away, he looked at me, then looked away. I couldn't see his mouth moving. Mr. Williams said Mr. Hill appeared to be in such a hurry, he drove directly over the hose of his weed sprayer. He came past really fast, and I don't even think he saw the spray hose. Most people even stop and ask if it's okay to drive over our spray lines. The court heard a drone police believe was being operated by Mr. Hill later flew over the weed sprayer's own campsite and other campers in the area. Mr. Williams said, I thought it was a bit rude to have the drone in the air over other people's campsites. You don't know what they're doing. They could be having an orgy. You might capture their orgy. That's an invasion of privacy. Apparently, here is a photo captured by a camper who had a previous encounter with Russell Hill, not alleged. He is one of the dead people. They're saying his car is all the way back here circled, and here's a bunch of other campers surrounded his campsite. His campsite was all the way in the back there. And you can see how close some of these campers are to each other. They're quite close in this area. The road worker provided images of the rough terrain near where he encountered the alleged killer of Russell Hill and Carol Clay. So this guy had a pretty good vantage point. He saw both of them. That is very interesting. On Wednesday, the court heard Lynn claimed Mr. Hill and Mrs. Clay were killed in a tragic accident. His barrister told the jury Mr. Hill stole Lynn's shotgun after he became enraged about Lynn playing loud music on the night he was killed. He went towards Mr. Hill to try to get the gun back to take control of the weapon. Mr. Hill fired the gun into the air, and Mr. Lynn initially took cover towards the rear of his car. Lynn would later tell police he was scared shitless by Mr. Hill's actions. He decided the only way to make things safe was to get his gun back. The jury heard that as Lynn tried to wrestle the firearm away from Mr. Hill, the gun discharged and Mrs. Clay was shot in the head. He then alleges that Mr. Hill advanced towards him with a knife after realizing that Mrs. Clay had been killed by the errant bullet, the firearm going off. And apparently he ran towards him with a knife, screaming, "She's dead." A struggle developed over the knife. Mr. Lynn tried to defend himself. They're locked in a struggle, and as part of this struggle, the two men fall to the ground, and the knife goes through the chest of Mr. Hill. Hey, now I ask you, that is a lot of coincidences or magical moments, as I would put it, right? You have a gun that randomly discharges, and it so happens to hit the female in the head and killing her, right? Okay, maybe that does happen. We've heard people being struck by random gunfire before. Then you have two men wrestling over a knife, and they so happen to fall to the floor, and it goes through the chest of the other victim, killing him. I can't say much more than that. All I can tell you is you have to make up your own mind on it. I can't give you an opinion. All I can tell you is you have to make up your own mind on what you think is going on here. Marlon Clausen said he observed a lot in a fast car. Yeah, he did. This thing, I swear to God, I'm gonna get tape, and I'm gonna tape you to the microphone. Laura says, "Okay, sure, I buy that story." Angela says he watches loads of movies. Maybe. Maybe he's a movie buff. Maybe he likes true crime. Maybe he likes, I don't know, thriller movies. It is a little convenient, but that's all I can tell you. I can't give you any more of an opinion than that. Unfortunately, with a jury in the court right now, I can't tell you anything. It is an interesting explanation from the defense, so, and not at all what I thought they were going to say. I thought they were going to say something completely different. I personally thought it was going to be different to that. I figured they were going to say they were both shot. I had no idea there was a knife involved, and I thought it was going to be over some sort of argument that got too heated between two men. And it's sort of what happened, but the other details are a little weird. Let me show you. Apparently, the cops flew over this campsite area to give you guys an overview and show you what type of terrain we're dealing with out there. So this is the Wanangata Valley area near Buffalo Road exit, near the campsite. So you guys can have a look if you've never seen it before. So you can see kind of the dense bushland that's out there. It's pretty rugged terrain out there. And I think at one point they zoom in on the campsite. So this is like real outback, country rural Australia. Probably doesn't look so dissimilar from where you live in the world, lots of trees and plain areas. And they say that's a dry river creek bed. Drop toilet. Thanks for letting us know about the toilet police. We always need to know that. And here's the Bucks Camp. So this is Bucks Camp. This is the area where they are alleged to have been murdered, and this is where they camped around here. This is Bucks Camp. So they must have been parked around here somewhere. And I think on the right here is where they had the vehicle, and that's the fire that we saw. But yeah, very interesting. Yeah, there you go. There's a big overview of just the terrain. So you can understand why originally some people thought they may have got lost out here, or they may have had a medical episode and then someone tried to go get help and then they suffered some sort of accident too. Originally, that's what they were sort of toying with, that something had gone wrong and they got lost or injured, or you can just tell like how brutal the terrain is out there. Like you just look there, you could walk a kilometer in there and you may never be found again. There is so dense. Reminds me of California. Reminds me of like all the redwood forests in California where they have the big bushfires. Very similar. Angela said he's screwed because of what he did after the fact. So what's interesting is in the beginning of the trial, they're not actually disputing the fact that what he did was wrong. They're disputing the events that took place at the start, how they were killed. He's not disputing that he moved the bodies, burnt them, moved them from the campsite. I think the bit that they're going to end up having to decide between as a jury is, do they believe with the evidence the prosecution's, turn of events, or do they believe the defense? I don't think anything afterwards will come into play as much. I think it's going to be, which story does the evidence back up to the most? Like, which one will the jury believe? No, it's nowhere near it. It's nowhere near it. Blue Mountains is in Sydney. This is in Victoria. Um, hundreds of kilometers away. Hundreds of kilometers away. Not even close. Siana said the gunshot could be an accident, but the knife not an accident, in my opinion. You bring up an interesting thing. I saw more than one person on Twitter say, what if the first gunshot that killed that killed Mrs. Clay, if she's the only one that has a gunshot wound, what if that one really was an accident? They were tussling over a gun and it went off. Then he decided, hey, I'm screwed here. And then just finished no witnesses. I've seen that theory floated about. Sorry, did we just drop out? The hell? Um, yeah, so I have seen that theory float about that maybe that's what happened, but hey, it's up to the jury here. It is not near the Blue Mountains, no. Okay. That's your update for today, and that's all they've given us all day is about this interaction with this weed sprayer dude. That's all they've given us today. The coverage out of this trial has been very minimal. I would have thought it would have been much bigger. Yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah, that's it. And that video, the video of Wanangata. All right. By the way, if you did not hear, this came out today. James Brenner pleads guilty to murdering Dylan Rounds. And they're saying here, the man charged with Dylan Rounds' murder pleaded guilty on Wednesday, shortly after helping investigators locate Rounds' remains. James Brenner, 61, pleaded guilty in Utah's First District Court as part of a plea deal that resolved 3 separate cases. A charge for aggravated murder, a first-degree felony, was reduced to murder. A second-degree felony and a charge for desecration of a human remains, and which is a third-degree felony, were dismissed. Brenner also agreed to disclose the location of Rounds' remains. He provided information to law enforcement that helped them find his remains. So that was on April 9th. Rounds 19 went missing after May 28, 2022, and the sheriff's office has spent thousands of hours investigating the case and searching for him with assistance from multiple agencies. So that he's going to be scheduled to be sentenced on July 1st in about 6 weeks or so. So it's starting to bring to a close a very sad case of Dylan Rounds. Can you hear that? My cats are playing chasey with each other around the home. They go one way and out the doors and in the different rooms and back again, and they take turns chasing each other. They're mental. Very sad case. I feel for his family to have to wait so long for answers, and I don't know how they feel about the downgrade of charges in exchange for his remains, but it's awful. Siana said, I watched the Dylan Rounds case since he first went missing. My heart hurts for the family. This scum should receive more jail time, but I get the family agreeing to the plea to get their son. I wonder if America would ever think of doing the laws like we have here, which is the no body, no parole. And I wonder if that would change plea deals like this one, because you wouldn't have to, although might make the family have to wait a lot more time, but you wouldn't have to discount the sentence because they would never get parole for their crimes or even the chance of parole because they haven't given up the body. I wonder if that will take off in America at all. I think that could be interesting to help stop these type of plea deals because in my opinion as well, he should never have received a plea deal. Not for something so uh, you know, and this killing was so aggravated. What did Dylan Rounds do? Nothing. He's just a kid trying to live out his dream of being a farmer or like owning property and farming on it. I mean, it seemed like a very wholesome country kid, like just trying to be a bit more of a grown up, right? He's trying to do things at his age that a lot of people are not doing, and he was basically killed for it. I think it's horrible, but I'm glad he's come home. I'm glad his parents at least have that. They at least know where he was. They at least can have a proper funeral. They can lay him to rest respectfully, and I think that is a great thing. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So we've got a little bit of that. We've got a little bit of this. By the way, did you hear of this one? Jakari Curry, 18, shot his stepfather on Monday in Chino, in California. What the hell? Hold on. Let me grab this for you. 34-year-old Timothy Matthews was his father. That's not going to do it. I can't seem to find a video for it, guys. Sorry, Muffin's being a jerk. Um, sometimes the cats, Muffin being a male, likes to be a jerk to Rory, and he'll pin her down and bite her neck, and then, you know, she just doesn't like it. She's like, "Game over, no more. I don't want to play anymore," and she just starts screaming. So, I don't think that game, but yeah, they got a little bit too. Muffin was getting a little too rough, so we had to pause for a second to go pull him off her because he just won't stop and he gets really fixated. Normally he's all right with her, but he does this every now and then. All right. Let me tell you about Jakari Curry, but I'm trying to find a video for you. Thought I had one through KTLA, but it's not there. All right, fine. Fine. We'll do it the hard way. Make Ping talk at all. All right. Let me load this up. All right. So it says a Chino teen shoots stepfather to death, according to police. A Chino teen is behind bars after police say he shot his stepfather to death Monday morning. Officers responded to the reports of shots fired just before 9:45 a.m. in the 5700 block of Riverside Drive, and Jakari Curry, 18, was arrested upon arrival, the Chino Police Department mentioned in a news release. Inside the home, officers found 34-year-old Timothy Matthews suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, and he was declared dead at the scene. The investigation revealed Curry, who is Matthews' stepson, was involved in a family dispute with Matthews leading up to the shooting. Curry is being held without bail at the High Desert Detention Center. He was due to appear in court Wednesday morning. They're saying anyone else with information is asked to contact the detective at 909-334-3124. That is awful. A stepfather shot to death multiple times by his 18-year-old stepson. I'm just going to try to see if I can find any photos of either of them. He's 18, so he's not a child as such. No results. Okay, thanks for that. No results on Twitter. Very strange. Hold on. Yahoo is covering it, but they're not giving us much either. They said a Chino teen is behind bars after police say he shot his stepfather to death on Monday morning. The investigation revealed Curry, who is Matthew's stepson, was involved in a family dispute. Yet we know that. And that's it. They're not giving us too much more than that. But he is being held without bail at the High Desert Detention Center. Where is that? Adelanto in California. 92301 is the postcode of that detention center. Let me have a look. Oh, it really is a desert. It's not too far from, what town is that? So it's sort of like Mojave, sort of out there. It's on the other side of the mountains. So if you know California, they got the mountain range. It's like on the other side where it's desert. So they really are out in the desert. I'll show you. This is where the detention center is that he's being held right now. Right here. Oh, that's a big detention center. And then if you zoom out, you'll just see how desert it is and how desolate. Look at this. Not too much around. And then you can see the mountains, and then there's LA, the city. So he's really out here. I don't know what's out here. I've never been out here myself. There you go. There's the these look like pods. These look like the new style prison type things where they keep them in different pods to segregate the population. Makes it easier for them to keep control, basically. And then if you have problems, you can switch people around and keep them away, and gives them more tools to keep people under control. So that's a very sad story. Don't like hearing of that, especially someone who has taken a child as his own, as a stepfather. It's a hard job, often very thankless, and you cop a lot of the blame for a lot of things, especially when you're a stepfather, and it's not nice. Let me see what else we have. More on Mika Miller. I don't want to do any more on Mika Miller. Maybe not. Maybe tomorrow. I think I got way too angry yesterday. People were like, "Ping, you're so angry," and I'm like, "I'm not angry. I'm all right. I promise." You guys, I thought I would tell a funny story. People like thought I was really mad yesterday. I wasn't mad. I was just really tired. I didn't get a very good night's sleep. Last night was better. Um, but people are like, "You're so angry," but you should. Mrs. Ping calls me the Hulk when I get angry. So that wasn't angry. I promise. That was just mildly annoyed and grumpy. Grumpy from no sleep. Okay. All right, let's bring you something that's unfortunately very awful. I think I've said awful about 10 times today, but
Private school in Ocala is now behind bars, accused of choking and hitting a student in the face with a computer charger, twisting his ankle and sitting on top of him.
Dante Prophet has been fired from his job, and as West News' Michelle Meredith explains, he was apparently unaware it was all being captured on surveillance camera.
The principal told deputies that he was trying to keep the student in the classroom, that the student had indicated he might try to take his own life. So, according to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, this is how Principal Dante Prophet allegedly handled it back on May 10th. All of it documented by a surveillance camera in the classroom. Investigators say the principal sat on top of the student, put him in a chokehold, grabbed one of his ankles and twisted it, smacked the student in the face, hit him in the head with a computer charger, and threw him on the floor.
Dante Prophet started touching the child and pushing on him, and it turned into where he started to physically abuse the child.
At one point, a teacher heard the student screaming, and the student eventually got away. When confronted by deputies, Dante Prophet seemed dumbfounded.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a security camera in that room. There is. Yeah, and it caught everything on camera. everything. Especially when he had his head down and you came up and started grabbing him on the legs and poking him and grabbing him in the chest.
The private religious school in Ocala, Destiny Leadership Academy, says they have fired Dante Prophet. The school had a meeting Monday evening to talk to parents. We found Dominique leaving the school. She thought she might enroll her brother, but not anymore.
Why would they do that? You know, like what was the reasoning? I'm thinking what was going through their head for them to do something like that.
The school released a statement that read in part, "Our commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of our students remains unwavering. We will continue to uphold our standards of excellence and nurture an environment where every child can flourish academically, socially, and spiritually." Dante Prophet is facing multiple charges, including aggravated child abuse. In Marion County, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
I don't know about that statement, right? Look at this. We'll go back. Our commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of our students remains unwavering. Yes, he looked very unwavering while he was on top of that child. Very unwavering. We will continue to uphold our standards of excellence and nurture an environment where every child can flourish academically, socially, and spiritually. Is that what you saw in that video? I'm not sure about that. I think maybe you need to watch it again and then look at your statement and then be like, was that the right thing to say? Let me just try and find it. I know they released a screenshot of this. So is this what reminds you of socially, spiritually, and academically? I mean, I don't know. Unwavering. It almost looks like he's on top of him strangling, like manual strangulation. That's almost what it looks like. Yeah. And I have teachers in my family. I know what a hard job they do. They have a hard job, real hard. It's not for everyone, and it's a very trying position to have. They don't get paid much. You know, they have to deal with parents, they have to deal with the school board, that type of thing. It's not an easy job for them, but this is unacceptable. I appreciate that, Laura. Laura says, "We get it. You're very compassionate, and it shows you have the best respect for victims." I try. I appreciate it. What? Angela says, "I was chased on the beach by a flock of sheep in Spain." That almost sounds like a nursery rhyme. "When I was 9, I was on a beach in Spain. A flock of sheep chased me to the drain." You could make a story out of that. Do you have a phobia of sheep now by any chance? I'll keep you up to date with what happens with this guy, 33-year-old principal, Dante Prophet. Interesting name. 33-year-old. Let me see if I can find anything else on Mr. Dante. Yeah, okay, interesting. Some more information here.
A school principal arrested for aggravated child abuse, and he reportedly didn't know that it was all being caught on camera.
This video from inside a classroom shows Dante Prophet struggling with the child and holding him down. Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie was at Destiny Leadership Academy in Marion County for the parents' meeting tonight and shares their shock.
The shocking 3-minute, 13-second clip appears to show Dante Akeem Prophet fighting to restrain a young child on May 10th. The child thrashing to get away. At one point, the 33-year-old principal of Destiny Leadership Academy in Ocala pins the child to the ground between his legs. According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, the principal didn't know he was being recorded.
I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a security camera in that room. There is. Yeah, and it caught everything on camera. Everything.
Accused of putting the child in a chokehold, using a charging cable to strike him, and slapping his face, Prophet is now charged with aggravated child abuse and false imprisonment of a child.
Turn around for me. Bring it back. You're under arrest, okay?
But it's not his first time being charged with a felony relating to a child. Prophet was arrested in May 2019. Court records show he was accused of sexually molesting a child who he met while working as a camp counselor in 2017. Prophet charged with lewd and lascivious molestation to a child and attempt to commit interfering with child custody. The case has been ongoing. In June 2023, documents state Prophet violated his probation. Then in July, the case was closed. Records show the prosecutor dropped one of the charges and the court withheld adjudication on the other, meaning he wasn't convicted. But how did he become principal at Destiny Leadership Academy? The school's executive principal, Dr. Elvira Higgins, declining to answer our questions.
But I just want to let you know that is some of the best surveillance video footage I've ever seen in my life. Okay. You're probably fired too from your job, by the way.
A letter given to us by school leaders states Prophet no longer works here. DLA is a private school, but state law mandates the Florida Department of Education writes their rules. We reached out, but haven't heard back.
And that was Hannah McKenzie reporting tonight. Prophet is being held at the Marion County Jail on no bond, and court records show that he also uses the name Dante Akeem Lopez. His next court appearance is coming up on June 11th.
I like how that cop was like, "Oh, and yeah, you're probably fired, bro." Don't bother coming back here. I want to know how he became a principal with a molestation charge on his record. Shouldn't that be something that got picked up in pre-employment checks, like working with children and that type of rubbish? Because down here, if you go within 100 feet of a child, and you've got to have a working with children background check. I'm serious. It doesn't even matter if you work directly with children. If there are children on the property at all in your workplace, you will have to have a background check. National police and they check everything because they don't want creeps and pedophiles and people like that around children here. So although it didn't stop the biggest pedophile in Australia. Do you guys remember that story from last year? A guy who worked in childcare, he worked at several different childcare providers, was filming CP at work at a childcare center. And the way they tracked it down was through the blanket the child was laid on was specifically made for the company he worked for. It wasn't a generic blanket. It was like their colors of the workplace or whatever. And the company said they only produce it for that one company. That's all. And that's how they tracked him down. And he was prolific in child abuse. Like he had 100 victims, 100 different victims, not just in Australia, but in Asia too. He worked in Asia at a point, and he abused children there too. Got away with it for over 10 years. Beth B says self-control is a necessary skill in teaching. Yeah, it is, and it's just not easy. 90K as a year 5 teacher. Yeah, but do you think that's worth it for all the overtime they do? They do so much unpaid overtime. It's insane. Like their job doesn't end at 4 o'clock when the children go home. They're marking work until like 10 o'clock at night, setting up lessons for the next day. Going to out of our hours activities for the children, or doing camping stuff on the weekend for them. Like I think it's very short pay for just the crazy amounts of hours they do. They get not a lot of money for what they do. Jojo says he got that free blanket for a reason. Yep. Angela says we do too. It's not just once, it's every time you are somewhere with children. Yeah, you have to reapply. If you start a new job, you can't just take your working with children check with you. You have to reapply at the new workplace and make sure that you're not a, pedophile. Yeah, obviously the private school doesn't screen employees. Well, they should, and they should hurry up because where's the money going? Where's the money going that you taken from the parents, thousands of dollars a term, and you don't even screen your employees? That says to me, uh, massive lawsuit, massive lawsuit that I could imagine the parents may be interested in that. All right. Oh, you guys were talking about the lady who got gored by the bull. I did see that. But hold on, you guys wanted to see the hammock thing? I'll show it to you. It is the funniest thing I've seen in about a week. Where is it? Sign that says, I was showing this to Mrs. Ping earlier, and she's like, why do you find that so funny? And I'm like, it is hilarious. Yeah.
I would like to see the sign that says no hammocks. We've got a whole. Where's the no hammock sign? We got a whole list of things. No. I can see you. You can't see me. If you don't come out of that. I'm not here. The police. No. What? No. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. You can't stop me.
Well, oh my god.
I won't be stopped. I said I won't be stopped. You see that?
Oh my god.
Yeah? I'm like an anaconda.
Oh my god.
What the?
You're gonna give yourself a concussion. You
No,
can't
I
have a
have
hammock in here, dude.
Come on, just drive the bus. Everyone's got places to go.
I don't think we can. Can you get down so we can get where we're going? Please?
What?
Dude, please?
I'm staying in the hammock. I'm not moving this bus. You know what? There's AC in here.
Dude, get down.
I'm not getting down.
Get down.
The bus is not moving.
Get down. Get down. We have places to go.
All right, now you've seen the hammock video. I was just absolutely laughing like a drain for about an hour at that. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. He's like, "You can't see me. I'm like an anaconda." Oh man. I don't know if that's a skit for TikTok or some sort of comedian hired a bus or something, or it's just a person who's thinking, "Hey, I could put a hammock in a bus." I don't know what it is, but it was pretty funny. He's like, "You can't see me." Oh man, it is quite funny. Show me the sign that says you can't have a hammock. That is very true. There is no sign that says you cannot have a hammock. It should just have a sign that says, "Please, no stupid people." But we're not allowed to do that anymore. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's been all over social media for about 4 or 5 days. People are making other videos. Sienna says, as a parent volunteer, I had to pass the background check and fingerprint card to even be allowed near the children. Yeah, you've got an AC in here. I'm staying. Yeah, that video was very funny. And then if you're wondering why I was talking about cocaine earlier, apparently earlier today they found cocaine in the capital of America again. Again? No, the other one was the White House, but apparently they found. All right, I'll play you in a minute. Hold on. I can't remember where it was, but let me see. They said there was cocaine found in the capital today. A 1-inch by 1-inch bag of coke was found in the capital. I'll show it.
Fox News alert. Cocaine was found in the Capitol. Capitol Police spotted a baggie full of white powder in a hallway on the second floor of their own headquarters. They tested it. Cocaine. Capitol Police opened an investigation, which we hope will last longer than the White House cocaine investigation. 11 days. No suspects, no video, and they destroyed the evidence. Primetime already has a few persons of interest. The Democrat Capitol.
Look, we don't do political stuff here, but I just thought it was funny that someone went home today and was like, "Ah, it was a hard day at work. I'm just going to go get my cocaine. I'm going to have a nice fat line of cocaine before I have a beer." And he's like, "Wait, where's my baggie of cocaine? I must have left it in the Capitol." He's probably like seeing it on the news going, "Oh man, that was like $50 worth of cocaine and I left it at work. and now they found it. That guy's probably like really upset. I know, right? Don't leave your cocaine places, people. It costs more than gold. Take it home with you. Don't bring it to work. You keep your cocaine at home from now on, all right? Don't bring it to the workplace. We don't need people high on coke at work. Just you do it at home when you get home. Reeby says China has hammock buses for long journeys. I'm sure India has as well. Maybe that's where he got the idea from. He saw it. He's like, wow, we need that in America. New York needs more, people on buses. Let me get a hammock in there. It'll be amazing. Hot dog. All right. All right, you cocaine fiends out there. Let's move on. Let's move on. I swear to God, I had a story about a missing woman, and now I don't. And I keep saying that every night, and I can't finding it. Yeah, no, not that one. I'll show you about the bull, though, if you guys wanted to see the bull. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Maybe the sun has it. Everyone's like, go back to the website you're on before. I have no idea what website I was on that actually had that. Maybe it was this one? Nope. Nah, I don't know. Here. There we go. Woman gored by bull after ignoring warnings from beachgoers in Mexico. A woman was gored during an encounter with a bull that was witnessed by startled beachgoers in Cabo San Lucas area of Mexico's Baja California Sur. The video of the incident recorded by Maria says the bull shows the bull eating from a bowl under the woman's canopy as she is apparently trying to coax it away from the area. Later in the video, the bull is still on the beach and eating from some bags left in the sand, several feet from the woman's campsite. The woman proceeds to grab the bags away from the bull, while bystanders are heard yelling, "You are really playing with it now. Please don't do that." I get told that too, but that's for a different reason. The woman drops the bags as the bull moves towards her, but stays in the area and attempts to pick up one of them again, while someone yells, "Jesus, please get away. You're not doing us any favors." That's when the bull charges, striking the woman with its horns and knocking her to the sand, and then strikes her several more times as she tries to get up. The attack stops once the woman remains on the ground in the fetal position. Yeah, the bull was like, "Mate, I'm hungry. Just leave me alone. I just want to eat the food." Let me try and find it. Oh my God. We don't have to watch her getting hit. We can just watch the other bit.
Tourist gored by an angry bull in Mexico. The giant animal was on La Fortuna Beach near Cabo San Lucas, eating from a bowl.
A woman was feeding the animal before it went on the attack. Want to warn you, the video might be distressing for some people to watch. Before the bull attacked, someone yelled at the woman saying, quote, "Lady, you're really playing with it right now. Please don't do that." She refused to move away. Moments later, the bull charged at her, shoving the woman into the sand. The woman got up and was then pushed back down again. The bull ran away after a bystander threw water on it. The woman was injured. Her condition is unknown. Authorities say it is normal for livestock to roam the coastline because many ranchers are located near the beaches.
We begin with a woman turning the tables on armed would-be carjackers who were threatening her life. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. Now, the men attempted the carjacking in broad daylight in the parking lot of a Target store in Taylor. But before it was over, she was the one chasing them. 7 News Detroit reporter Kimberly Craig is highlighting the voice of this brave woman who had been pistol whipped, but still didn't let her flip-flops slow her down.
It was Monday afternoon, just before 5 o'clock, and Rachel Smolgeski was sitting in her boyfriend's car, getting ready to go into this Target, when 3 would-be carjackers picked the wrong one.
They seemed like They were scared of me almost because I was going ballistic. I was like a little gorilla.
Rachel tells 7 News something in her snap, but she says the ordeal started very differently as she sat in this parking lot Monday with the windows rolled down.
I was just sitting here on my phone, and then all of a sudden somebody just pulls up and they just pull the gun right at my face and they start yelling, "Give me your phone, give me your keys, give me your wallet." I thought I was really going to die over somebody trying to take a car.
Rachel was scared and couldn't believe what was happening. She was about to call 911 when one of the 3 would-be carjackers knocked her phone out of her hands.
He hit me right in the mouth right here with the gun, and I was starting to bleed all over. And then he put it up to my head, and he said he's going to shoot me or give me the keys.
Rachel gave up the keys.
And I just thought, well, it's not worth it. And so I just gave him the keys, because I didn't know what was going to happen next. And then all of a sudden something just snapped in me. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let this happen to me. This is not going to happen. I tried to stand on the top of the car, banging, help me, help me. They've got a gun. They got a gun.
Thankfully, onlookers called 911, and that's when the tables began to turn.
Once they started back away and run, I was like, oh no, that's it. And I chased after them. And
I feel like the story should have stopped right there. It should have stopped right there. No further. It should have been like this.
like, oh no, that's it. And I chased
one,
Right.
and that's when the tables began to turn.
Once they started back away and run, I was like,
That's it. The story should have ended there. Should have, oh, God, they left.
oh no, that's it. And I chased after them. And I ran like the whole parking lot. And I was just wearing flops, so I lost my shoes. So my feet are all cut up and everything.
Rachel cornered the guys, and one of them threw her keys back at her. They then tried to hide, but it was too late. Too many people were watching.
DJ's employees just came up and they said males are hiding in their bathroom.
Taylor police arrested 3 teenagers and recovered their gun. I asked Rachel where she got the guts to go after the bad guys.
I've had everybody walk all over me and take advantage and stuff. And after it's been for years and years, you just get sick of it. And I'm not going to let anyone do that to me anymore.
She's just thankful for those who called 911 and says this is a reminder to be vigilant.
If I had been more alert, I probably would have saw them and I could have gotten away instead of letting them come up to the car. They thought I was an easy target.
But you weren't.
But they thought wrong.
In Taylor, Kimberly Craig, 7 News.
I would suggest that she's very lucky that it wasn't someone else or a different gunman, or, maybe 8 times out of 10 it still goes the way that it happened. It's very lucky. I've seen people that have been shot and killed when they put up a resistance to a carjacking or a robbery with a gun. I mean, I'm happy she got her car back, and I'm happy she's alive, not too hurt. It's good. But I don't know. Just something in me says in an alternate universe somewhere, if we have parallel multi-world theory, she was probably shot after she put up a fight. They a lot of the time these people are desperate. They don't care. They just want the valuables so they can go get their whatever drugs or whatever they want, and they really don't care if you're a victim or not. So I think she's very lucky. She's very lucky. But I mean, if it taught her to stick up for herself, that's a good thing too. Like she said, she's been trodden on for a long time, and she just had enough. So good for her. But I worry about people that put up a fight like that. It's ended badly for people in the past. The bull was scared his sun lotion would wash off. Yeah, he needed his Mexico tan. Otherwise, what would his work friends say? He'd get back from his holiday. They'd be like, "How was Mexico? You're looking a little pale there. You didn't get a tan? Did you really go to Mexico?" And, all his bull friends at work would laugh at him. And, he would be a joke at his workplace, at the bull in China shop where he works, Chidnowell says, yes, Ping, the multi-universe theory, the alternate realities at the same time. Yeah, multi-world theory. I just worry. It's not, I don't know. She did try to give up her car keys, but I just don't know. I worry because when they tried to run, it's almost like you then corner them, and they might even get more desperate to escape as well. So that's why I said maybe it should have stopped. Like, you got your car keys back, they ran away. Probably you should have left it there, but because I don't want to see anyone die for a car. Who wants to get shot and killed for a car? No one. Angela says the poor bull was just hangry. I think they're always hangry, aren't they, bulls? What is the multi-universe theory? It's the theory that, isn't it, every decision that we make, um, basically there's another reality that we make the opposite decision, or one of the other decisions we could have made, and somewhere out in another alternate reality or whatever, there's us who chose the other decision. So our lives are very different in these other universes. If you want to explore this a little more, there's a show at the moment on HBO called, what the hell is it called? It's on HBO. They just had episode 3. It's called Dark Matter. It's not fully, fact for fact, but it will give you an interesting rundown for it. No, not South Park version. No. Yeah, at the same time. Yeah. So there'll be another you somewhere else that made the opposite decision. The show is based on I think I've only watched the first 3 episodes, but it's based on a guy, a scientist, or is he a physicist? He's some sort of science guy. He ends up building a machine that can see these realities. And yeah, I don't want to tell you any more than that because otherwise it'll spoil it. But if you want to watch it, it's on, I think, Apple TV. Let me see. Is it an Apple show? Yeah, so Apple TV Plus. If you've got that, you could probably watch it. It's called Dark Matter. It's pretty good. Apparently, it was based on a book. I've never read the book, so don't ask me about it. I have no idea. But the show is actually pretty good. Pretty interesting. It has what's that girl's name that was in? Hold on. There's a really famous actress in it. And she was in an old movie that I watched when I was like 16. And now she's a little older. Jennifer Connelly. I mean, who doesn't think Jennifer Connelly is just absolutely gorgeous? But she was in Requiem for a Dream. That's where I first saw her. I watched Requiem for a Dream when I was like 16. And it was a crazy movie. If you've never seen Requiem for a Dream, you should watch that. But yeah, Jennifer Connelly's in it. And who plays the dad? Joel Edgerton, the Aussie. He plays the father. No, it's a series. It's gonna have like, I've never watched it. If I tell you any more about it, it'll spoil it because it's not a deep story, and it'll take away the first couple of episodes. All I can tell you is it's based on alternate realities and something happening. Evil Alaska says, I drive a 1995 old retired rust bucket diesel that only starts when the universe says we are to drive. Okay. Hope that is most days for you. That could be true. Reby could write 1,000 stories. That's right, she could. Inception? I liked Inception. It was alright. Yeah, it was a good movie. There was a company that actually made, the spinning top? They made a fortune off it after the movie. They made those little spinning tops. Hey, Snapcrackle. Good to see you. By the way, I got an email while we were sitting and chatting. I got a Ko-Fi. Who is this from? Let's see. Oh, it's from Sean. Sean did Ko-Fi instead of the PayPal. Sean, I really appreciate that. If you want to do Ko-Fi too, it's in the chat somewhere. Also, I want to make sure this is who I think it is. I want to make sure. I'm just going to say it's. I'll just say it's the first name. Patricia, I really appreciate that. It's not Trish from WebSource, it's a different one. Appreciate the donation overnight last night. It's very kind of you. The channel's been a little for a while now, so I very much appreciate it. We've been focusing on this, getting to the 1,000 subs, and I just keep forgetting to add all the donation stuff every night because I'm been putting this message everywhere. Chid says, Pinga cried at the elevator scene and when he was with his wife building cities, so she was already dead, but believed she was alive. Yeah, it was very sad. Hey, Juicy Jules. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we got to wrap up. We've got about 10 minutes and I got to get out of here and let you guys go to bed. So let's pick one more story. Actually, let me check here. I just want to see if they did a roundup for the end of the day. No, not yet anyway. Let me check if there's anything in the last half an hour. 22 minutes ago. So they're saying that, see, this is all that's coming out. Every day we get to hear from like one witness. In America, we would have heard from like 30 in a day, but in Australia, the justice system moves a little slowly. That's why it's a 4-week or a 6-week trial. We only heard from one dude. I'm just trying to see if there's anything new in here for you. They said, about the drone, Mr. Hill's drone, he says this, a witness. He says, whoever was operating it, the fact that this drone was hovering over various campsites, making the noise that it was, your reaction was, that's a bit rude. Is that right? And Williams, who gave the evidence we spoke of a little earlier in the show, said, I thought it was a bit rude. Yeah, I could understand that. When you're going out camping and you're trying to get a bit of serenity out in the bush, you don't want some jackhole with a drone flying over your campsite where you're trying to have a beer, relax, de-stress, and then you just hear that brrrr, and you're like, what the hell? And you're like, come on, man. Like, they got cameras on it and that. What if I was naked? What if I was sunbaking nude in the outback? What? Your drone is invading my naked body privacy, out here in the bush. Not with a bush, just out in the bush. All right, well, you can make any connection to that you want and make a joke out of it. We don't know. We'll find out next week. Next week on the 23rd, we'll get a date for the block of weeks for the trial for Erin Patterson. They will book it in, basically. Book it in. We'll know on the 23rd next week. Tino Moore says, right, how does anyone get away from the world anymore? Especially with connected devices, computers, that type of thing, drones, mobile phone. I appreciate it, Reeby. Yeah, we actually need some new thumbnails. I think I went through all the ones that Reeby made. Although, Reeby, while you're here, I don't mean to talk business on the stream. But I have run into a couple of issues a couple of times. Apparently, StreamYard now has a limit to thumbnails, and it's like 2 megabytes. Yeah, odd. Don't know why. It's a new thing. Sean said my kids are screaming and laughing, so I wouldn't hear it. That's true. All right, I think that's just about it. I don't think I have anything else for tonight. Let me check KTLA. Oh, that's very sad. Let's finish with this. So, authorities seek help identifying abandoned baby in Los Angeles County. They're saying this is the baby here up in the corner. Authorities are seeking help to identify a baby who was abandoned at a store in Lomita on Tuesday. The baby was left at a store on the 2000 block of Pacific Coast Highway around 5 p.m., according to the LA County Sheriff. Employees said a pregnant woman entered the shop while carrying the baby in her arms. She asked a worker to call a taxi and then went to the restroom. When the taxi arrived, the woman left. Moments later, workers discovered the baby had been left behind in a shopping cart. The infant is between 7 to 9 months old and had been placed under the care of the Department of Children and Family Services. Authorities are searching for the woman or any family members who can identify the baby. A photo of the child has been released, and photo of the child and the woman were released in hopes someone may recognize them. That is not a very good photo of her. There's the baby, and there's the photo of the mum to the right there. There we go. So she left the baby in the shopping center. At school, I think, Sean. Yeah, what a cute baby, right? Why would you want to let that cute thing go? Let me see if I can find anything else about it before we quickly run away. Store in Lomita. There's got to be a video about this that we can watch quickly. No? Los Angeles NBC, maybe? No. They haven't done a thing about it, unfortunately. Just that. So if you recognize them, it's sad that she's pregnant again. Do you think she ditched the baby on purpose? It's very sad if that's the case. Yeah, live streamed by the drone. Right. Yeah, how sad. Little baby, and you can see she's got a pregnant belly at the same time. I don't know. I don't know if she meant to abandon the baby or she's just having some pregnancy issues and, like a bit of postpartum or prepartum depression, which women can get. That's very sad. Hopefully they can get the baby back to family urgently. All right. We got a couple more.
Fourth grader in Greenfield is dead. His parents say he took his own life due to relentless bullying.
Tonight in a 13 News exclusive, our Chase House sat down with the child's parents who tell us they never thought it would end this way.
10-year-old Sammy Toish was known by his family for being spontaneous, like here, when he jumped in this pond in 50-degree weather at the side of some little waves.
How was it? Good.
That little laugh and his big smile may not be heard or seen around the Toish home anymore, but will live in their hearts forever.
He was my little boy. He was my baby. He was the youngest one.
Sammy's family says he killed himself Sunday morning.
I held him in my arms and I did things that no father should ever have to do. And anytime I closed my eyes, that's all I could see.
According to Sammy's family, he was being bullied up until the night before he died. First, they say it started at his school, Greenfield Intermediate, about 2 years ago.
They were making fun of him for his glasses. In the beginning, they went on to make fun of his teeth.
What started as words, they say, progressively turned physical.
He was beat up on the school bus, and the kid broke his glasses and everything. And I called the school and I'm like, what are you doing about this? It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's not getting any better. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse.
His dad says this was just one of the 20 times he'd been in contact with the school about the bullying. I reached out to the superintendent of schools, Dr. Harold Olin, for an interview. And although he wasn't available, he did answer my questions. He says there was no bullying report ever submitted by the parents or the student. But he also says the school's administrators and counselor had regular conversation with the family throughout the year, but can't share the content of those conversations.
They knew this was going on.
Sammy's family says the bullying progressed from school and the bus to places like Snapchat, even despite him having limited access to his phone.
I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to beat you up when you get to school. I'm going to, saying mean things about Nikki, which would really, really set him off.
His suicide, they believe, was because he feared going to school after an incident in the bathroom last week and the constant harassment. And while the family may be putting Sammy to rest in the coming days, his mom wishes she was saying good night instead of goodbye.
I always tell the kids, because Sammy and his sister went to bed first because they were younger, and telling them they had to brush their teeth and get ready for bed, and having him not being there to hug before bed.
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it truly is. Your heart really goes out to that family right there. That tree that you saw within that story, it's actually not a basic tree. It's actually Sammy's tree because he always wanted to see it grow so big where he could put a tree house in it and make a little fort in it.
Yeah. When we're talking about suicide, it's so important for people to reach out.
What a horrible story. And all I have to say to the people who bullied that little kid to this point is this. That's it. That's all I have to say. It's disgusting. Freaking, if you ever see your kids doing this crap, I hope I hope you parent them correctly and show them that that's not the correct way to treat people. And what happens later in life is that the bullies often don't progress further in life because they get stuck in these, oh, I was the bully and the big kid at school or whatever. And they end up becoming stunted later in life because they don't progress. It's better if they curb that behavior earlier on than later. And yeah, I hope they wear it as a badge of honor. Do you wear it as a badge of honor, bullies? You got that kid. You go to his funeral next week. You tell his mom. You tell his mom and dad how much you bullied him. It's disgusting. The fact that it still goes on in schools and the schools are worse now. When I was a kid, if there was bullies, they wouldn't do a whole lot, but at least they would like send the kid home or whatever. Now the schools just go, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no bullying here. We're part of the 20 to 50 no bullying commission, no bullying by 2055 or whatever. That doesn't enact change. Look at this kid. He still took his own life, and his parents said they reported it to you like over 20 times. How's that going to hit your target in friggin' 2055 for no bullying week or whatever? It's an everyday issue, not a once a year. It's not a target for 2055. It's an issue now, obviously. It's horrible to hear about. Sick of it. Sick of hearing about kids who get bullied like that. I don't know what to do about it. Like, we can't do anything as adults. It's not like we can go bully the little kids who get done for assault. Tid No More says kids need to wear a GoPro 24/7 for proof. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's the answer is making school uniform clothing for vulnerable kids that have like a camera in the collar that records and no one knows it's there. That way, there's always proof of allegations and can be acted on faster. Tech companies out there make that somehow. I don't know. Someone will put up oh, it's impeding on my kid's liberties because your kid's probably the bully. That's the only reason you care. If your kid wasn't and they're a nice kid, you'd probably support it. So I agree. Chino Moss says Lord of the Flies all over again every day. It's so wrong. I agree. It's just I don't know what the answer is. Bullying has been around since I was a kid. Probably even the older people in chat since they all went to school in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 80s. It happens all the time. What the answer to it is, I don't know. Yeah, take my idea. I'm too lazy. You make it. Make it. Just call it the ping, and then I'll be happy. That's it. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know how you would implement it. But you could work out something, I think. But it would have to be in the clothing in some way you could disconnect and connect it to wash it so you could recharge the battery and things like that. Anyway, I think it would be an interesting idea, especially for vulnerable children at the school. That way, probably people would stay away from them because they don't want to be caught on camera. You know, they'll get in trouble or whatever. I like that idea. Angela says a mum stitched a bug into a hair tie for her daughter. She thought she was being bullied. Turned out it was the teacher that was doing it. Ugh. Ban social media for kids. At school, I agree. And I think that the age limit should be 15 for teenagers. Any younger than that, they're still developing and they're still learning how to work with social boundaries, like with other people and other kids and things like that, especially around that, puberty area. Like they're still learning how to be like young adults type of thing. So maybe like 15 is a good idea. I don't think it'll solve it. I think you'd still get beat up and have your head put down a toilet at school, whether or not you had social media or not. Social media is not the cause of it. It's an accelerant. It's the fuel they pour on the bullying that's already happening. It's the fire is already there. Social media is an accelerant. With no porn available, well, the sacrifices we have to make. A body cam, but it's too heavy and it's for a child, I think, and it's too cumbersome. It's too large. Like some of those ones, they're like huge, like that. You need something that's like a keyhole camera that's small. It's not noticeable because if it's not noticeable, you can't capture the bullying, right? If they say, "Look at this camera with like flashing signs and like a big, neon thing," the kids are not going to do it, and you're not going to find out the answers that you need. But if you had something that was like a keyhole camera, you could at least get the evidence you need to put things in place to help solve the bullying issue at the school. All right, that's enough. That's enough Shark Tank with Ping. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be on time tomorrow. Okay. Hey, I'm sorry about today. It wasn't my fault. I woke up and it was just black, and I was like, "What's going on? Did we get hit by a meteor, or what's going on here?" Tripped over the cats, and I was like, "Ah." And then I realized that they're doing work on the lines outside. So I'll be back tomorrow. Hey, I want to thank everyone who subscribes to this channel. We are so close to 1,000. It has been a grind to get here. I've had a lot of help along the way, but I appreciate it. I hope we will get there to that 1,000 shortly. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Be a part of that last push to 1,000, and I would very much appreciate it. We're going to do something fun on the 1,000. When we get 1,000, I have something planned. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye out for that. And if you...
Tonight, a fourth grader in Greenfield is dead. His parents say he took his own life.
Yeah, we already watched that. Thanks for that. CNN or whatever it is. What is this? WTHR. All right. Hey, I love you all. You are all amazing, and be safe out there. Be safe out there, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks to the people who support this show. Thanks to the people who like and subscribe, and thanks to Patricia and Sean for their donations today. I very much appreciate it. Helps keep the channel going. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Bye bye.